Okay, the top sort of 8 courses of the bricks here are loose, and they're very dangerous. If they were to fall, they could kill someone. They really need to be sorted out, and we'll talk about that privately on the telephone call. Here is the barge board that's fallen out where this brickwork is. It's just absolutely fallen out. It's actually still on the ground, still there, can be refitted. So that has to be put back in. The hardy plank where it joins the brickwork has got cracks in there, and that needs to be rejoined with Sikaflex because that'll be leaking into the home as well. These are rotten timbers, so I'm now going to show you some shots of timbers that are rotting from just the weather because they're unprotected. The paint is worn through. The guttering, most of the guttering that I've looked at, these are all photos of around the building, and those white dots are oxidisation, which is coming through from tiny pinholes in the bottom of the guttering. So the guttering still works, but it's definitely rusted. More rotten timbers. More rotten timbers there. Some of those black spots, I want you to take note of this. You'll see the watermarks there on the fascia board. And we're going to note another picture in a minute. With there, you can see there, if you look closer, you can see more watermarks on the timbers. And they're coming down because the water's getting down behind the tiles. I'll talk about that. More of these white dots, which are corrosion. Up here, there's a tile that slipped down. You can see the gap there in the gable. There's a crack in the gable there. Now, this is the section where the watermarks are. This is at the back of the house on the little balcony. And whoever made the house, obviously the last course of tiles was too short. They badly designed it or didn't allow for it. And the water was coming off the roof and not going into the gutter, so they put a bit of fibro in instead of putting another course of tiles. These pictures here are cracks in the leadwork, and they'll definitely be leaking into the home, and they need to be sorted out, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Up the top, on the top of the dormer now, this is if you're at the back looking at the dormers or at the back of the house, this is on the right hand side, and this whole fascia board or barge board here is completely rotten, absolutely gone, not salvageable in any way, shape or form, as you can see. And if you take note of that funny bit of wood, it looks all sort of wrinkly, and that's because it's shrunk, and it literally is like an old person that's shrunk and wrinkly because it has dry rot. And most of what you see there is actually the paint. That's the only thing that's kind of holding it together. If you take the paint away, there's underneath it's almost dust. It's just rotten, completely rotten. It's got on clay. If you pause the video and have a look, you'll see loads and loads and loads of silicon. Someone's been up there over the years, a handyman or whatever, putting silicon in there. So obviously it's been leaking into the home, I guess. There's more silicon on. This is on the ridge capping or barge capping. Sorry. On the right hand side of the property, there's some more silicon down a tile there, all put there I guess because there was a leak in the house. You'll notice on the middle left hand side there's a barge cap there and cement's missing out of there. These barge caps are butt barges, and they butt up against each other instead of overlapping each other. They butt up against each other. Really bad design. It's a very old design, and they don't seal properly, as you can see. And how they install them is they put plastic underneath, and that's supposed to stop the water. And if it's installed properly, it kind of works, but over time the plastic rots, and then when the water comes through the barges, it goes into the home. There's just some cracked pointing, more crack pointing on a gable. So all of the pointing needs redoing. This is the left-hand side of the dormer on the top, on the barge, and it's nowhere near as bad as the other one, but it's got some rotting going on as well. And there's another shot of it here where it's all of the cement work needs redoing. My suggestion will be, and will be in the quote, is to remove those barge caps altogether, the cement barge, and put steel barge capping on there. That'll make it watertight. Now these photos are just photos on the roof. Now I'm assuming because you've been the owner of the property for a very long time that you would be aware that that roof has been painted, and it looks like it's dirty and there is some dirt on the roof, but mostly what you're seeing is actually the paint is worn through, and there's a closer shot coming up in a minute where you'll get to see where the paint is actually wearing through. You'll see where it looks quite good in some spots. That's where the paint's still okay, but the other spots that are dark, there's a good shot. So there you can see the paint is completely worn away, and that is the cement tile that you can see there with mould on the cement tile. So that's fairly unsightly, but you know, you don't have to coat that roof at all. That's not an imperative. It's just purely for looks, but might be something to think about. At any rate, thanks for the inspection.